Hello and welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is BryanCPSteele and I will be your nerd today and any other day that you watch one of my silly little shows. Hello everybody. Good evening. Good day. Good afternoon. Good morning. I don't know when you're watching this. I have people that watch this from all over the world. So or maybe you catch it later on. I don't know. Regardless, good temporal nomenclature to you. I hope it finds you well. Let's jump right in this. I don't have a whole lot of time today, so I want to make sure that I get everything covered the way I want to. Let's do the easy one first. Personal. So I have been very good on the whole diet plan thing since I got back from Origins. I do know that some of the weight that I had, that I was carrying in Origins, must have been water weight. I must have been just drinking too much soda, too many beers, so forth and so on. Because I shed a lot of that weight pretty fast when I got back. Now that I'm back on the diet, or back on the meal plan, if you will, I've managed to. I'm just about ready to cross that 10 pounds re-lost mark. So, yay for that. Don't Some people might see that and go, 10 pounds in a week. That seems really fast. Like that's unhealthy. Keep in mind, I actually have really high testosterone levels, and that ties into weight loss. And not to belittle the work that's being done, I 10 pounds is not a big percentage of my body weight, so it is not something that I really have noticed a difference. Obviously, about another in about another 10 pounds or so, I'll start noticing physical differences, and another 20 pounds after that, I will see significant change. So, we'll keep it going. I've been really good, though. I haven't really cheated. There's been a few meals that have been questionably low carb, but overall, I've been very good about making sure the only snacks that I have are extremely low or no carb snacks. And trying to exercise when I can. Not as often as I'd like, and hopefully that will ramp up soon. But this is what we call the beginning, and hopefully I will keep it going. Speaking of exercise, I've actually been attending my son's tennis practices. Now I'm not getting the same kind of exercise he is. He's straight up, doing the sport. I am just chasing balls and getting them for the coaches and things like that. But when you're someone my size and in Indiana summer heat, it's a decent workout. Just basically walking around for an hour, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and chasing tennis balls. So which maybe that's why dogs are in such great shape. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm really proud of him. He's doing really well in his tennis, in the fact that his summer has turned into a very sporty summer, which for my video game addict of a child, it's interesting. It's weird. But I'm super proud of him. He is doing summer PE courses, so he doesn't have to go through like PE during freshman year. He has they're not private lessons because it's a team of people that are paid lessons. There we go. He's got paid lessons for tennis at the country club close to his mother's house, and that's a couple of times a week. And then right now it's a couple of times a week, but it's going to be like 5 times a week. He's got the actual high school tennis coach doing practices for the high school team, getting ready for tryouts in August. He's really into it, and seeing outsider looking in, watching him get better, seeing him actually pick up these skills, and really kind of start to want to get better. It's really cool. It's neat to watch that. I've never we watch sports and we enjoy them, and I haven't played hockey since high school, but it's neat to see someone take to a sport and literally like really focus on their game and try to get their skills up, and it's cool. I'm I'm very happy and I'm very proud of him, and I hope that it takes him places, even if it's just places that he wants to go and not necessarily like some kind of big like scholarship benchmark or anything. I'm not even worried about that. It's not for me. It's not about getting something out of it. It's about him finding something that he enjoys and something that could possibly stay with him forever, or at least until he gets, I don't know, tennis elbow. I know that's a thing. I got nothing. Let's see. Gaming wise, played a lot of video games as always. Played Kabuto Sumo, the wooden block pushing game from Allplay. Love that game. I absolutely, when games are brilliantly designed, it speaks to me. And when they are brilliantly designed and they're unique, like in theme or function, I'm very happy with the results. And so I picked up a copy of that with a couple of the little bonus dudes at Gen Con or at Origins, and it is a very good purchase, and I can't wait to play again. Last night I actually got to play. We finally got to get a game in of my of the Waking Realms D&D game, where I'm the Capoeira Cat Monk, and it was a short session. Our Wednesday night sessions have been really short, which is why we're actually moving back to every other Friday, so we can get longer sessions in and get more accomplished. The DM actually, Mikey even said that we're getting kind of close to the culmination of this this campaign, kind of the big climax, the end, dun dun dun. So I know he wants to get more done than just a couple of hours, like, because our Wednesday night sessions have been like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours tops, and it's hard to get a lot done more than like a combat. That being said, we had a lot of fun last night. We had an airship combat, airship to airship. Our druid summoned some eagles for everyone to fly over and drop bombs on the opposing ship. I manned the I think he called it like the chain grapple or something. Basically, it's a harpoon, like a chain harpoon gun that attached to the other side. And once I made the tether, if you're familiar with D&D, monks are, especially high level monks, there's nowhere they can't go. Like, they run up walls, they run across water, they run a bazillion, feet per second. And then on top of that, I'm a tabaxi, which means if I want to crank up the speed, I can crank up the speed. And so as soon as the harpoon hit the other side and it was a firm lock, I just ran down the chain over to the other side of the boat and started fighting the crew. It was cool. It was neat. It was an epic moment. And then because it was a short session, we ended shortly thereafter with our airship heading toward what we believe to be probably the big final battle. So it was a lot of fun, though. I'm glad. We are 13th level right now. I suspect we're going to get through probably one more big kind of mini boss battle that'll put us up to 14th. And then he'll probably end the campaign with us at 15th. And then with wayward mustache hair in my nose is making me crazy. And then when that is done, we'll probably keep the characters off to the side at 15th level in case he ever wants to revisit and do like an epic level 15 to 20 or something. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But that is my estimation. That's my educated guess. Painting wise, I am painting some BattleTech minis, some additional mortificators for the Brotherhood starter box that we take to shows for demos, because it occurred to me I do not have two actual more normal mortificators painted. I just have the Redemption Assassin and one regular, so I'm painting a couple extras so there is less confusion. And honestly, if I ever feel like, wanting to field the Redemption Assassin, I don't want my fellow players, my locals, my playtesters and stuff, I don't want them to get confused when I put him down and go, oh yeah, this time he's the special one. No, so I'm just gonna paint up a couple of regulars. That way I've got a little leeway as to who I can bring, and when I start putting the Redemption Assassin on the table, it will be because I'm using his stat card. Yeah, but that's really it for painting. Work stuff. Work has been very busy. Very busy. Some interesting stuff on the back end for Evil Genius. I won't get into that. But my official title, I was right. I am an executive producer at Evil Genius. I'm still getting a chance to do some design and development, but honestly, most of what I do right now is orchestrate the projects and decide what and where and how things are happening in our sci-fi lines. It's cool. It's neat. I've always loved getting a chance to kind of help shape the products a little more. I'm hoping that eventually I'll get to a place where I'm designing as much as I'm producing. But either way, having a blast. Love the team I work with. My boss is great. It's a good gig, and I'm glad I did it. Even with some shenanigans behind the scenes that I can't talk about. Overall, it's a great gig, and it's going places. Knowing some of the products that I'm working on, and some of the products that we are looking at for next year. Keep an eye on Evil Genius. There's definitely some cool stuff happening. Shadowrun novel. I really need to start putting more words down on that thing. It haunts me. I know where I want it to go, and I know where the story's going to go. I just need to find the time to sit down and just be like, blinders on, door locked, music up, right. I'll probably get a chance to do that next weekend, perhaps 2 weekends from now. Just really gonna give myself a couple of just work on the novel days. So that'll be fun. Warzone is Warzone. The backer kit is hopefully Alex is almost done with that, so we'll be able to open that up and get you guys to be able to sign up as late backers if you haven't. Get a few more retail accounts, and then it's really just time to start focusing in earnest on getting that book done, getting the rules completely finalized, where we go, this is where we want them. Get that first round of stat cards ready to rock and roll. It's cool to see the project move along. I know a lot of people are chomping at the bit because they're like, we haven't heard anything in a couple of weeks. The Kickstarter's over. It's going to be so many more months before we see stuff. I get it. We are just as excited about getting this thing out as you are. But like with every other aspect of this whole Kickstarter for Warzone, we have got to take this in manageable chunks, because the last thing we want to do is try to put too many irons in the fire all at once and burn the house down, so to speak. To use disaster metaphors. But that being said, I will say that I am very confident that we are at the 0 hour when it comes to where these rules are at. Very excited, very happy with how things are going. The last little tweaks have been nothing but kind of shining the chrome, so to speak. Really getting it down to a place where if if there was some kind of thing that happened and we were like, wow, we got to put the rules out tomorrow, I would be super happy with where they are. They might need a little tweaking here and there, but if they came out right now, I would be happy with the game that is released. Yeah, I think that's really it for work. I focus on so much stuff, lately that it is what it is. So let's talk about. You thought I was going to forget last month's comment raffle winner. Dun, 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 dun. So I put everybody's comment startups in the randomizer, and it came up with episode 194, Moto Sada. Moto Sada, you are the winner of the June Tales from a Professional Nerd comment raffle, which means when this video comes out, I will put a post on Moto Sada's comment for them to email me their address, and then we will send out a cool little care package just for you out of my random studio stuff. Sometimes it's from sponsors, sometimes it's from unboxings, sometimes it's from just my own personal collection. One of these days, one of you guys is going to get a sock, a clean sock, but it's going to be a sock. It's going to be weird. Maybe an autographed sock. How weird would that be? All right. Sorry. I just went to a strange place. But yeah, so congratulations, Monosada. Thank you for being a subscriber, and thank you for entering in discourse on the comment threads, starting up your own conversations, and the like. Please, as always, hit the button, link, share, subscribe. You know how this stuff goes. We want to be able to grow the channel to the point where more companies are willing to work with us. We get to do more unboxings and more product giveaways and things like that. Speaking of, I actually am in conversation. I'm in conversations with a. I probably shouldn't say in case it falls through, but a company who specializes in miniature and terrain decorations like flock and static grass and tufts and things like that. So hopefully here pretty soon we will have a really cool unboxing to show you some very cool new products from that company. Yeah, so I'm really excited. I actually have a phone call that I got to make later today to talk to that company about possibly getting some stuff here on the show. So dun, 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 dun. Okay. So yeah, let's talk about the topic. Today's topic, I wanted to I actually got into a conversation online that spilled over into a different online, basically one group to the next, where someone had actually asked basically what Everyday Heroes is all about. And when I explained to them that the way Everyday Heroes works is that it's a core set of 5e-esque D20 based rules that are set set with a modern feel to them, a modern base. So they're firearms, cars, tanks, planes, aliens, robots, regular everyday modern type things, or possibly more modern than fantasy. How about that? You could easily run like a samurai style game with these rule sets. You may have to alter some of the classes, to be a particular feel, but overall, it is designed as I don't want to say generic. That's not a good term. It's not a good term for this. It is a baseline set of heroes, of characters that you get to play, that can be used in a variety of different settings. And then what Evil Genius has done is they have acquired official licensing from a number of different cinematic universes. And then each one of these, we call them cinematic adventures. That's the actual source book that brings a setting to life using the everyday heroes as a core rules. So basically, you can build an everyday hero's character, a hero out of that book. You can straight up build them, and it would work just fine. It would play just fine in any of the cinematic adventures. That being said, the cinematic adventures always come with some special rules, some extra flavor, some maybe a new class or a new background or a new profession that that add to the experience for that setting, but are designed in a way that if you felt like you wanted to, you just play everyday heroes and then use one of those characters. Other game systems have done similar things. People might remember GURPS, Rifts, for to a certain degree, Essence 20. Where each setting just brings some flavor and some new rules to the overall rule set. And so if you wanted to, you could mix and match them. We aren't, as Evil Genius, we're not going to mix and match them in any kind of official products, but we would love to hear your stories about how you have, and about how you had a King Kong fight a kaiju once or something like that. Like that's the kind of stuff that we're talking about. And I wanted to take a minute to walk through the cinematic adventures that we have already published, that we've already put out, and I wanted to talk about the ones that are already available and kind of let you know what they bring to the gaming table, what they bring to Evil Genius, to Everyday Heroes, and to Evil Genius to a certain degree. But that way, so if I'm reading through this or when I'm telling you about these, there's a particular cinematic adventure that speaks to you, or maybe a rule set part of those adventures that speak to you, then you know what you might want to go out and find. Obviously the Everyday Heroes main book, but then these extra cinematic, these cinematic adventures books give you that extra oomph to maybe, hell, you might want to make your own world setting using Everyday Heroes, but then also you're like, I really want the ability to have X. If one of these speaks to you, or one of the future products speaks to you, then let's get you in there. That is the deal. I'm also going to go ahead and talk about some of the ones that are coming out soon, that we have already announced, so that way you kind of know what's on the way. All right, first things first. We will start with, I'm actually going to do the first four in order of our releases of them. Our first one that we're going to talk about is The Crow Cinematic Adventure, which is You know what? I should read the back. I should show you, read the back, and then kind of give you the elevator pitch. Some tragedies never rest, even after reloading in English. Boop. Some tragedies never rest, even after death. Every culture in the world has myths about our souls traveling to the land of the dead, and warnings about their return. But what if you could stare into the eyes of one you once loved, or catch a glimpse of them skipping along on a rain-soaked night years after you were put in the grave, one last time? How much is that worth? A global wave of violent crime suddenly lights cities ablaze around the world in a revival of the forgotten tradition of Devil's Night. Caught in the crossfire, you can't rest until revenge is had. Or rather, you aren't allowed to rest until the wrongs committed have been set right. With each body put in the grave, another fragmented clue is revealed. Then, without warning, the greatest secret is revealed. You are not alone. Together you must bring justice upon the one who cracked the mystery of death, even if it sets Motor City ablaze one more time. for the path of retribution is wrought with violence and tears. The Crow is a cinematic adventure for use with the Everyday Heroes role-playing game. You need the Everyday Heroes core rulebook to understand and play the contents of this book. Every cinematic adventure contains a wealth of lore about the world of the film, new hero building options, tools and guidance for game masters, and an incredible adventure. Bam, bam, bam. Alright, so basically this gives you the opportunity to play in the world of the Crow, the comic books and movies that you might already know, hopefully already know. The Cliff's Notes is that it is about basically someone who is wrongfully killed in a particularly horrific manner, and they are an animal totem brings them back as one of the returned, and it is your duty as a returned to basically solve certain set certain wrongs right, get vengeance, that sort of thing. And what the Crow does is the Crow brings you the rules to play in that world, but also gives you the not just the rules, not just as playing as the returned itself. Yes, it's got the rules to be that kind of character, but you also, it's kind of cool, you could play cops, you could play maybe friends of the person who died, and it could very well, you could play as all normal people in the world of the Crow, and maybe do it as like a murder mystery. There's so many different ways you can do this, but at its core, it is a game about one or more characters who have been brought back from the dead to set things right. One of the things that we did when it came to be one of the Reborn is you actually get to choose. Not all, yes, it is a game set in the Crow, and a crow is the one that you recognize. But in lots of different mythos and lots of different legends and things, there's different animals that deal with the afterlife. And we actually have some different rules based off of which animal has kind of like chosen to be your death totem. We have a butterfly, we have a cat, we have the crow, we have a mastiff, we have a moth, we have an owl, we have a snake, a spider, and the spider's it. And then there's rules to play someone who's just mystically touched, who kind of like sees the other side. So it's a very cool setting. Obviously, the movie, at least 2 out of like the 5 movies are amazing. The comic book or the graphic novel is up there with one of my favorites. But overall, as a world setting, it's borderline. I wouldn't call it a horror game, but I would probably I don't know if I would call it a horror game, because yeah, you've returned from the dead, but it's more like just a gothic game. Like, it's dark, it's sinister, but you're not a zombie, you're not eating brains, you're not a vampire, you're not drinking blood. You're just more powerful than a normal person, and you're driven by some kind of supernatural desire to fix what's wrong. And it's very, very cool. We have sessions of those. We had sessions of those being played at Origins, and I know we've got sessions at Gen Con as well. But they always go over well. People love, even for when you sit to the table with a bunch of players, and the players are like, obviously everyone kind of wants to be the Reborn. They want to be the guy. They want to be the zombie guy. Or zombie. I just literally said that it wasn't a zombie. They want to be the returned guy. They want to be the Reborn. But the other characters are just as cool, and the adventures are written. The convention adventures are written to make sure that those other characters can also do a lot and need to. do a lot of what needs to be accomplished during the course of the adventure. If you are even remotely a fan of The Crow and role-playing games, you should totally check it out. Next up, dun 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 dun, we have Escape from New York. So Escape from New York is a hilarious, when you look at the time frame, like I rewatched the movie relatively recently, and in the opening credits, which I'm going to read from the back of the book here in a minute, it states what year it talks about, and you roll your eyes so hard because it was 30 plus years ago that they talked about this, like, dystopic, or this dystopian, like almost apocalyptic, urban setting. Here we go. In 1988, the crime rate in the United States rose by more than 400%. New York City, the site of a massive nerve gas attack by the Soviet Union, is transformed into a maximum security prison, covering all the incarceration requirements of the United States. Sealed off from the world by a 50-foot containment wall, it is a society in and of itself. Once you go in, you never come back. As a final security measure, a nuclear bomb has been installed in the head of the Statue of Liberty. While its existence is a closely guarded secret, the revolutionary NLFA have obtained the president's nuclear arming device and are threatening to detonate the bomb unless their demands are met. The year is now 1993. Your mission is to recover the arming device and codes before all of New York is reduced to radioactive rubble. Escape from New York is a cinematic adventure for everyday heroes role-playing game. Yap, 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 yap. Every cinematic adventure contains yap, yap, yap. There. So that last paragraph is the same on every book. But yeah, so this basically is, yes, it's supposed to be set in 1993. It's obviously, if you want to set it in a different future or a more realistic timeline, that future is going to be dramatically different. But either way, the concept is, it is a role-playing sandbox where you are playing inside of this kind of, open territory, prison, gang, turf thing in the walled-off city of New York. Now, the adventure that's in here obviously has more to do with that nuclear bomb in the Statue of Liberty. But you can play anything you want. This just gives you that backdrop, that backdrop of a kind of gang run, anarchic, kind of just chaotic wasteland urban setting, and this is what the Escape from New York system brings to Everyday Heroes. Is it allows you to kind of, I don't want to say destroy your status quo, but definitely bring it down to a level where, money is different, trading is different, gangs run the boroughs, and it's a very, very cool backdrop. And then game rules wise, the primary thing that it brings to Everyday Heroes, aside from its own its own style and theme, is it has a way for you to it's got a new system that's like a gangland street cred system, so you actually kind of have like a reputation system built into your character. It comes with a couple of new classes, but it also has rules for, like, I keep saying post-apocalyptic, but it's more like, dystopian, kind of cobbled together weapons that do multiple things. In a world where you need to get anything to survive, having, let's take a look at that, one of those weapons, having a spiked club that delivers crushing blows and vicious punctures would be beneficial, or a shotgun with a saw on the end of it. You know, like these are the things that you could build and utilize in a world like this. Um, yeah, no. And then of course the adventure that comes in here has to deal with trying to get those nuclear. It is called Liberty Lost, uh, which is pretty neat. Yeah, it's very cool. I haven't had a chance to actually play this one, like even with the other writers and stuff. But I'm excited. Basically, you are running into trying to get the codes for the Statue of Liberty nuke. It's very very cool. So, Escape from New York. Our third release goes hand in hand with our second release, or our last release, which we'll talk about that in a second. And that is Kong Skull Island. Uh, are you ready for an adventure of a lifetime? Monarch is recruiting brave and inquisitive souls willing to risk a journey to the most dangerous and wondrous environment on Earth. It is the domain of fierce predators where the lines between plant and enemy are blurred. Above them all stands the mighty Kong, a force of nature who rules Skull Island and tolerates no challenge to his dominion. Yet even Kong can't stop every threat. An unscrupulous and reckless effort is underway to weaponize the island's unique creatures, and the unintended consequences could spell doom for the island's delicate ecosystem. Can your team of Monarch recruits survive the island's perils, put an end to this plot, and bring balance back to Skull Island? So, yeah, basically you play normal people, humans, in and some kind of exploration, some kind of trip, some kind of visitation to the monster-rich environment of Skull Island. And what is super special about this, it's the first time that Everyday Heroes introduces truly titanic, massive. I mean, because Kong and some of the monsters that it fights are enormous, are huge, gigantic. And when you get to a certain point in a role playing system, um, certain scale issues start to come into play. And what Kong introduces is how, as little people, can we deal with gigantic monsters, or these epic, iconic titans such as Kong himself. And what it does is it includes new ways to calculate damage based on something that's that big. A specific rule that basically allows a game master to make a particular monster immune to small scale damage, unless it's got like a special trait to punch through armor or something like that. But then I think one of the coolest things that this book brings, it introduces the idea of cinematic actions. And cinematic actions, I'm going to let it actually describe. I'm going to let the book describe it. Cinematic actions are a tool for creating NPCs that can reasonably hold their own against a full team of heroes. These tend to be big bad boss type creatures that attack multiple heroes simultaneously and take tremendous effort to defeat. Cinematic actions specifically help NPCs threaten multiple heroes each turn. NPCs with cinematic actions have a number of action points, blah blah blah. So basically, it lets it would be weird if you had King Kong punch one guy, boop, or one of the giant, the one of the big monsters from Skull Island, have him just pick on a single person. When they attack, we saw that in the movie, everybody scattered. It was a huge, like a swath of destruction. And that's what these cinematic actions do, is they basically let the GM narrate a very cool moment, a large scale thing, a special effect that the creature in question can perform, that creates a cool scene, a cool moment, rather than just, oh, did I hit you? You're probably dead. Does that make sense? Also, just as a side note, Kong was one of the two cinematic adventure paths that we recently kickstarted to basically to have a set of adventures, set of linked adventures that go from first level all the way up through 10th level, set in the Kong universe, or the Kong Skull Island universe specifically. And I'll make sure that the link to the Kickstarter is in the description, because you can go there, and I think our late backer kits are open now to be able to go get that and get some very cool. I think we've got some special like Monarch dice bags. I know there's definitely some special Kong dice. Yeah, so very cool, very cool. And then I'm only going to briefly cover this one because I actually gave an entire episode to talk about it, and that was episode 191, if you go back, and that is the Pacific Rim Cinematic Adventure. This is, like I said, go back to episode 191 to watch more about it, but it introduces the concept of, the drift, where you connect multiple characters together mentally to operate one of these giant monsters. I guess they're robot monsters, giant robotic Jaegers, and then of course it's the rules specifically to use the Jaegers themselves to fight Titan scale on Titan scale, or if you're wanting to bring those rules into everyday heroes, you could maybe use it to have somebody build a giant robot and attack a city. Or use or maybe run around. If you wanted to, you could find a way to maybe have everyone build support Jaegers, and that's basically like BattleTech. You could do like your own MechWarrior game using the support Jaeger rules from Pacific Rim. I covered that more in depth in episode 191. If you want to go back and check that out. So those are the 4 cinematic adventures books that are actually already out in print. Now, on our website, we have already talked about a few others. Specifically, Highlander, which brings Immortals to the Everyday Heroes rules, plus rules for the quickening, rules for characters that are from a different time frame, like playing an older character that has gone through the ages as an immortal. And as a side note, if you are a fan of Highlander, we are actually running a super crazy special Highlander mega event at Gen Con Saturday night, where you enter in a combined adventure with like 60 other people or 59 other people, and at the end of the event, one person, there can be only one, will actually win the event, be the last man standing, and will walk away with a replica Clan MacLeod sword, like legit. So Highlander's available in PDF already, and the physical copies, I believe, are shipping now. Next up after that, we actually have Total Recall, set in the 1980s, 1990 movie, and it is where we introduce the concept of, besides atmospheric conditions and radiation and low gravity, like it's the first time that we've really taken the game out into space. Or rather a space colony. Total Recall also introduces the first time that we have non-human player characters, like mainstream human anyway, in the fact that we have mutants, and the mutants are they bring a different set of stats to take into consideration their power, and their power takes into consideration what kind of toll it has taken upon the body. In Total Recall, the mutants all have various degrees of gifts, but those gifts have a penalty, not really a penalty, they have a tax that you pay, in the fact that normally the more powerful the gift, the more it physically affects you as a person. Whether it is, if I use this, it is extremely apparent, or whether I've got leathery skin, or honestly, one of the classes of mutant you can be is a giant mutant, where you are like 10 feet tall and you're a big boy. Yeah, so Total Recall is that one is available on PDF already, and physical copies are shipping. Then the other two that we have announced but we have not released yet, we have Universal Soldier, which is a kind of military-esque, slightly sci-fi world setting, but I mean, I guess it is sci-fi, but it is, in feel, it is more about like a like super soldier special, like super soldier special forces style thing. But most importantly for the Everyday Heroes rule set is that Universal Soldier introduces cybernetics, different types of augmentations and things that these characters can have, that really amp up their game. So if you wanted to bring cybernetics into your Everyday Heroes game, Universal Soldier is the way to go. And then the last one that we've announced, I keep saying that we've announced because there's ones we have not, is Rambo. Is actually the old school, one of the quintessential 80s action flicks. And I recently talked to the executive producer of the Rambo book, and I asked him, just basically, I was like, hey, what makes Rambo special, and what does Rambo bring to the Everyday Heroes rules? Because you could just play a non-simulation using Everyday Heroes. So what makes Rambo special? Rambo takes the Everyday Heroes as a rule set is a little more fluid, in the fact that you don't have a Desert Eagle or a Colt 45, or that you have a medium pistol, a heavy pistol, a light pistol, and then you get to choose where it falls into that category. Rambo is more granular. It goes more in depth into the different weapons, into the different military trainings, into the different backgrounds that could bring you into that sort of amped up 80s military style. And the Rambo setting, if you are more in mind of, I really love all of the little ins and outs, and I'd rather than just being a member of the military background like you get in Everyday Heroes, I want to know which branch I was in, what part did I serve, what was my training. That's the stuff that Rambo brings to the table. Is because I've actually heard some people that I've mentioned that we've done a Rambo game, that they're like, all right, so you're just some dude shooting people in the jungle? Okay, we can do that now. That's not the point. The point is, yes, you could absolutely play up that awesome Rambo movie feel, but what it's bringing to the Everyday Heroes rules is an added level of military kind of complexity. So if you like more gritty history, more defined elements in your military characters collectively, Rambo, even if you never put John Rambo in a game, and you never ever even go to the jungle, that's irrelevant. The rules that it brings to Everyday Heroes allows you to take that next step up into a more granular military armed forces game setting, game feel, game campaign. Yeah, so, and of course, other products, there's other things coming, some of which I can talk about, some of which I should be able to talk about soon, and some of which I literally just had a meeting with a licensor yesterday about it, and it should be really cool. I'm very excited. If we land that license, I will be very, very happy, and I think so will a lot of you. All right, so yeah, I think that's about it for me for today, for this week. Like I said, later today, I've got a very cool phone call that hopefully will result in an awesome product up on unboxing soon, maybe even a sponsor. But regardless to any of that, I just really want to make sure that you guys out there stay safe. Get vaccinated if you can, get boosted if you can, wear a mask if you have to, wash your hands, just be safe. I want all of you guys to be able to come back every week and make sure that you share to your friends, and I want you to be around for your friends to talk about these awesome videos and other cool things and reasons. But more than anything, I really just want you to try and leave every room that you enter a little happier than when you left, or little happier when you leave than when you got there. Put some smiles on people's faces. That's the whole point of this. And until I see you next time, play some games. See you in a week.